Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Mythic Mirabelle, who will be the next promo character coming to RTS. Visually on the right hand side we can see she's wearing, I guess, she's like jeans, that's pretty much it, jeans and like an accessory top where she can, hide some grenades or something like that. But she kind of looks psychotic, if I'm honest. Her grin, the look on her face is really nuts on the right hand side. I do believe this is the first ever Tough Mirabelle. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first ever Tough Mirabelle to come into the game. That's the first thing I really realized when I found out this was the next character. The weapon does look really nice though, kind of like Princess from the S-Class era. Really nice weapon, visually looks great. On the left hand side we get a bit more of what we normally would see with Mirabelle, not as psychotic looking on the left hand side, thankfully, as she's giving us like the peace sign with the over the eye, which is cool enough. On her, I'm not sure what she's got. She doesn't have it on the right hand side, but on her art, is that like a poster folder? I thought maybe it could be like a bazooka. I mean, maybe it is. It's got a handle that maybe looks like it is a single use. I'm not really sure there. If we check out her stats as a tier 5 gold mythic at level 600, she has got 12,838 attack, 14,605 defense, 13,704 HP. She is a tough character. She is considered a support character, mythic of course, and she is part of the Road to Survival group because she is an RTS original character. Now we'll go across and check out her adrenaline rush, and it is called Neutralized Threats. It's a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 2 attacks of 250% damage, which is 500% total to one enemy. 4 enemies get 35% defense down and 35% attack down for 2 turns. This is obviously going to be able to utilize something like Rampage because she does 2 separate attacks. If she takes down the first enemy on that to one enemy, it will go to a second enemy. That's how those double attacks work. Everybody knows this. The last bit is actually kind of cool. I'm not sure if it's going to apply to the character she's focusing or it's going to apply to basically whoever's alive. So if she takes out the first character, does it apply to other people? Does it apply at the end of the 2 attacks? So potentially, like if she takes out the first, who's on very low HP, does everyone get defense down then? And then the second attack she does will go up against defense down? We'll have to see. Obviously, there is a character in the game that is going to circumvent half of this rush already, and that is going to be Mythic Ezekiel. Will not be able to get defense down for the first few turns because of his leader skill, and so will all of his teammates. So that is obviously going to be a problem. But after the leader skill runs out, after the first few turns, this will obviously be able to take effect. So we are on turn 2, and you can see turn 1, she did actually do quite a lot of damage with that initial Rampage attack. I have got a Rampage weapon in her hands. I've got Glenn here, so if he hits a crit, we should get Mirabelle get a natural turn 2 rush, which is obviously fantastic. We're going to focus someone low HP. Let's see if we see the defense down markers go on the other 4 characters. We'll try and take it slow. It does look like they did. They did, and she obviously is going to hit a Rampage and do a lot of damage. But even as a support character, just because of the way her rush functions, it's got a lot of potential. And obviously because she is a tough character, she can have a 20% AP weapon to self. You could potentially get her a first turn rush in certain scenarios, and that would team up quite well in, with characters like Tyrese, where you could do defense down first and then follow up with Tyrese's rush afterwards, or anyone else's rush who has, big, heavy, damage dealing rush. Even if it's only on turn 2, you don't necessarily have to do it turn 1, but she's got some great combos because of that defense down. If we look at the upgrades though, we can see that it is going to be fully unlocked as a rush as long as you get it to tier 5. You get 50% damage bonus per attack. At tier 2, at tier 4 you get 10% attack down and 10% defense down bonus, and then at tier 5 you get 1 attack down and defense down target. So until it gets to tier 5 it will only be 3 enemies. I'd still say it's pretty good before tier 5, but obviously the more defense down and the more the attack down you get, the better. Now because she's got quite decent defensive stats, you could utilize her on a defense team instead, and then obviously that would heavily reduce the incoming damage that your defense team is going to take. And defense down would just mean that any sort of damage dealers, which people are going to be using right now on defense teams, are going to be much more powerful, especially if you gear them out fully defensively. Even though attacking characters don't have huge amounts of defense, they still have reasonable amount of defense. 35% defense less, yep, they're getting shredded. Now she has got a signature move, and it is called Confounding Guardian. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 2, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses 999. Make a critical hit against an enemy. That enemy gets confused for 2 turns. That is actually obviously interesting for 2 reasons. A guaranteed critical hit should mean it's going to be a guaranteed proc for Rampage. We will test that out, of course. But she is going to get a little bit of control as a support character. That's going to be quite rare. You might get the odd bit of control now and again, but she is going to get quite a nice control here. That's a 2-turn control off turn 2. That's going to be good on defense teams because natural rush is turn 3. You could obviously get someone confused for 2 turns, and if you confuse the right character, obviously it could be like doing rampage attacks against your own team with like a princess. Not ideal for an attack team for sure. Okay, so the first turn is here. I'm just going to defend on everybody just because I don't want to do too much damage, because the first time I did it, the first turn I did huge amounts of damage just on a basic attack. I want to see if this crit means Rampage will actually proc or not. We'll see. It does. So it's a guaranteed Rampage actual proc, and I get to confuse a character of my choice on attack. On defense, it'll be just down to RNG, you know, the AI who they select. It will probably focus someone who they finish off. So I'll try and test out and see if a character still gets confused if someone gets taken out by this. I'm guessing no. Okay, so we've managed to soften Erica up quite heavily here. I'm going to just do her signature move on Erica. It should take her out. And we're just basically going to see, is someone else going to get confused? Like I said, I'm assuming it's not going to happen. And indeed, it does not. So you do obviously have a little bit more control on how effective this is going to be on an attack team versus on a defense team. On a defense team, it's just random. But if it does take someone out, it's still going to be really effective, even if you're not getting in that confused. So either way, this is kind of like protection. If you're not taking someone out, then at least they're going to potentially be confused, you know? If you look at the upgrades, it doesn't require too much. Just get her to tier 3, and you get the extra turn of Confuse, and it's going to be a fully unlocked signature move that way. Doesn't need any upgrades, doesn't need tier 5, so the signature move is good to go. Now we'll check out Mirabelle's Mythic Abilities. Her passive, she is a support character, so she gets Cunning. This means that when she's attacking or being attacked, she's 15% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. This includes things like double attack, which you can't really resist otherwise, which is actually pretty cool. Her personal passives, one's called Following Orders. Stat boosts from leader skills are 20% more effective on this character. This is actually obviously awesome. That means that if you have an offensive leader, you're going to get more attack. If you've got a defensive leader on a defense team, you're going to get more defense. It isn't huge. So for instance, let's say Negan on attack, I believe, gives 20% attack. This would only give an extra 4% attack on top, but it is obviously something. It's a little bit of a boost, and it's going to increase her damage, increase her defense, increase her HP, depending on what that stat is. The next one is Guardian Expert. When this character performs the Guardian 2 specialist skill, spoiler alert, one teammate gets 30% attack and defense for 2 turns. This is obviously going to be great on both attack and defense teams, because it's giving you both of the key, stats here. It doesn't matter too much. And if she doesn't attack first, and she's the last person to attack on a defense team, it lasts for 2 turns, so that is quite good. You could potentially have 2 characters with this buff up all the time on an attack team, so that's actually really nice. The last one is Adaptive Defender. When attacked, 15% chance one other teammate gets Guardian Shield. This is good for attack and defenses. Again, I really like that, honestly. It isn't that high a chance, but it's very much a little bonus on top. And I think it's going to mainly be useful for attack teams because generally speaking, Guardian Shields always go to the person with the lowest HP, and on attack that's generally going to be your heaviest damage dealer, and that's going to be really obviously nice. The only downside is, will she be focused on an attack team versus that damage dealer in the first place? Most likely not, but on a defense team, it doesn't matter. It doesn't say whether it's a targeted attack, so it maybe seems like any sort of damage taken has a 50% chance of another teammate getting a Guardian Shield. We'll have to test this out a little bit. Okay, so this time around I haven't got a Rampage weapon in her hands, but we're going to try and hit a crit and see if it gives someone a buff. We can see that 4 of my teammates have 20% defense buff because for whatever reason I put alert buffs in Axel's hands. We don't care, we're not really looking at Axel right now. But if we hit a crit, we'll see 2 of my characters do get the Guardian Shields, and one of them, which is going to be Maggie up the top, got the 30% attack and 30% defense. This obviously meant if, let's say Maggie had her rush right now, she'd get a booster on that, which is a big bonus, especially on characters that have early rushes or really powerful signature moves. Okay, so we're just going to test out the Guardian Shield to a teammate when taking damage. So I'm going to attack her with some of my low levels here, and it does proc more than once. That is actually interesting. So it can proc more than once in a turn. That is really, really powerful. It is only a 15% chance, but it means it can just obviously pop up at any given time, as long as she takes some damage. That is interesting, a nice little bonus on top. And if you have her comboed with certain characters, let's say Ezekiel on defense teams, he gives Guardian Shields already with his signature move. She can give Guardian Shields with taking these basic attacks, and we've already seen what her specialist skill as well, so there could be Guardian Shields everywhere, and Guardian Shields are my nemesis, I will be honest. So that's how our passives work, and I think they actually seem pretty good. They're going to work on attack and defense, all of those. The only one is going to be down to, is she going to be focused when she's on an attack team having quite defensive stats? Most of the time I would say not. But we'll look at the tiers that are needed to upgrade these skills. You can see for tier 1, it's going to be following orders, which is going to be the leader skill bonus. Cunning at tier 2, which is her support character bonus. Guardian Expert, the first half of it, she'll get 15% attack and 15% defense of it for tier 3. Tier 4, she'll get Adaptive Defender, which is the 15% chance one other teammate will get a Guardian Shield. And then when she gets to tier 5, it will upgrade Guardian Expert to 30% of each stat from 15% of each stat. I actually like that a lot, and I do hope they do things like this in the future, where the character is still, you know, good and you're still unlocking a lot of their potential just you know, tier 4, but you get a boost to one of the things you've already unlocked at tier 5. I think so far, the characters I've looked at, this is the best, like, presented one. I'm happy with this personally. There are characters that you only unlocked one of their passives when it's tier 5, and that can be, you know, that's a big hit and miss situation where you have to get 2 of them to make them actually ideal, and that can put people off actually trying to go for the character a lot of the time. But I think this one's quite good. 15% attack and defense is obviously still decent. 30% obviously is better. I kind of like the passives here. They work into her kit really well. And like I said, attack or defense, it doesn't seem to make too much of a difference for Mirabelle so far. And the same can be said if we go across to her specialist skill, because Guardian 2, again, is an attack or defense team specialist skill realistically. She can do quite a lot of damage, as we saw on her rush. So it isn't like she's just going to be that support character that just does Guardian Shields and protects her team. She's actually going to have a reasonable amount of damage output and amplifiers as well, because she's got the defense down. I think specialist skill Guardian 2 is great. And like I said, it goes to the person with the lowest HP on attack team or defense team, so it protects your most vulnerable characters. Not just off turn 1. Off turn 1, obviously, it will go to the lowest HP, but let's say someone gets focused, they'll be guaranteed a Guardian Shield the next turn, and turn 2 is generally when a lot of those signature moves will go off on defense. You won't get too many offensive ones on defense teams, but it will block the damage. It will not block the AP gain, because Guardian Shields don't block AP gain from signature moves, but it also block things like Tyrese first turn signature move, Alpha, Shiva, and I've seen these characters on defense teams quite a lot. And again, it's going to be your tough damage dealers that are going to be focused. So if you've got like a Princess or an Andrea, the team up with Mirabelle on attack seems pretty good. Now, Mirabelle does have an attached weapon, and it is Mirabelle's Unexpected LMG. I guess it is pretty unexpected. It is the first ever Tough Mirabelle. It has got 25% HP base, a medium bonus to AP when attacking, and bonus crit, 30 crit when attacking enemies with more than 70% of the mate's HP. I'm shaking my head because I'm just like, yeah, this is a no. This is a no from me, but visually it does look great. It is a 5-star weapon because I had to upgrade it to 5-star to put a weapon in her hands that would actually be able to get her AP and so on and so forth, but it does start off as a 4-star weapon, but you're upgrading this mainly for the visuals. When you get it to a 5-star weapon, you can put whatever 5-star weapon in her hands you want. Double attack Rampage does seem actually to be quite effective on her rush, and obviously the more you tier up your lieutenants, the more tiers you get on this character herself, she's going to have more attack. You can obviously gear her offensively as well. Mods have been changed to percentage based now rather than just being, you know, straight up flat stats. It isn't going to be as effective on Mirabelle because her base attack is not super high, but you can still get a lot of damage out in my opinion. And obviously she can utilize things like elusive impair on defense teams, tough healing, that sort of thing. She is going to need AP on attack for a defense team because she has a 66 AP cost rush. But like I talked about in the Elodie video, you could potentially do 2 stats, AP on attack and elusive impair on there. And that way you're still getting heavy stats, so the boosts there are going to be quite nice. And of course, because of one of her passives, one of them could get boosted even higher depending on what the leader is. So for instance, Ezekiel's defense boost will be a little bit higher, and that's going to be great for Mirabelle. So this is Mirabelle. She is the next promo character, and I think she's a great release for an early promo within the Mythic era because she can be used pretty much everywhere. If you do pull this character, whether it be just through Fortune or Survivors Club, or you do try and do some extra pulls, she's going to be useful in attack, defense. I think she's actually, you know, not too bad at all. She's a really good support character. She's going to keep people alive. I can't really see any like real weaknesses with her kit that I can notice. I like the fact that the Guardian Shield could potentially go off more than once on if she's hit, you know, the 15% chance. It is very low percentage, but these ones should just be seen as like real rare bonuses that could come in and make the difference now and again. Whether you want to focus upgrading the rare bonuses over things that are a bit more guaranteed, it's up to you. Which one would you prefer to use Mirabelle on yourself? Do you think she's better for attack or defense? Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of Mirabelle as a mythic character. Are you happy with how she has turned out visually and so on and so forth? It is the first tough character, right? I'm pretty sure. Someone will definitely be able to confirm that with me in the comments. But that is my first look at Mirabelle, guys. If you did enjoy the video or find it informative, please hit the like button. It does make a big difference. And thank you very much if you have already hit subscribe on my channel. The ongoing support, of course, is awesome. But that is the end of this one, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.